Dear all, welcome to VJ Tech Talks. This is our first real-time scenario. We will address the challenges related to external schemas in Azure SQL Server. We will cover when, where, and how to handle these challenges. At the end, there will be a question to test our understanding. External schemas in SQL Server are primarily used for querying. Here are some key scenarios where you might use external schemas. External data services, data integrations, and analysis. Federated external data, especially for queries and data warehousing. Here are a few scenarios where we use external schema data integrations. When you are trying to combine multiple sources, it's very useful. The external schemas are useful, especially when you are combining data across multiple sources. Data federations are very helpful when using external schemas. These external schemas are particularly valuable when working with data for visualizations. Schemas are very useful and meaningful. As I mentioned, the external schemas are valuable. The database context used for representing external sources. It's very useful to understand this during real-time project execution. We need an environment to identify and address the challenges associated with working with external schemas. So we need a data factory, a pipeline, and external tables with the external schema. We'll use the data factory for data movement and during execution, monitor errors, and review the monitoring tab to check how many records were read. What's the first step? Okay, we'll look into the implementation part. Open Data Factory and launch Studio, where you can create your pipeline. Okay, before creating a pipeline, what you can do is just create your own folder. This is how we will maintain it in real time. If you have this one, it will be easier for you to track in the future once you come here and identify which task, under which task each pipeline is located. Now, I'm creating a new pipeline here and just setting up the names. We must also follow the technical documentation. That's very important. Actually, if you have that, it will be easier for you to track. I will take a copy activity here. Even for the copy activity, the activity names are very essential. It will be very easy for you to understand in the future if you use proper naming conventions for everything. Okay, now create a source dataset. Link the services. I have downloaded a file from Kaggle. It's one of the best platforms where we can find valuable resources. Here I have a storage account and a dataset. We have already created a storage account and a container. Just click on that container. Under that container, we have another container. Under that container, I have an index.csv file that I downloaded from Kaggle. Now go back to my pipeline. Here I'm constructing the source connection, which is in the general storage. The file delimiter is CSV. Additionally, the dataset naming is also very important. It's very important. If you have a linked service, that's fine. If not, you can create it. If you don't have one, let me know. I can help you out if you encounter any difficulties here. Okay, now choose my dataset since I have already created it. I will choose my existing linked service here, and you can select the location where the file is located. This is my file and here it is. You need to select that file and click. Okay, that's all perfect for the source side. Now just move on to the sync side. Create a new linked service and dataset for the sync side as well. Since we are writing data to the Azure SQL side, just ensure that the naming conventions are as I mentioned. Naming conventions very essential in your real-time projects. And this is how I am writing it. I'm also using the already existing linked service. If you look at the names like ls and ds's but, you can identify that ls stands for linked services. I'm launching SSMS here and have supplied all the credentials needed to connect to my Azure SQL server. I'm checking to see if there are any databases already created. I'm expanding the databases to check if there are any tables under the external schema. Okay, this is suitable if you are working with small-scale databases. If you are working with larger-scale databases, what you will need to do is, to check if external schemas are present, you need to prepare a query to identify them. Here's how you can prepare a query, include the schema information, and pass the external schema as the table name. Check if there is a table with that name. If nothing appears, we'll try executing the query with the schema as well. We will check if there are any tables available under the external schema. Nothing is there, perfect. So go back to your sync location here. What I'm doing is manually passing the external dataset. And if you preview the data, it won't return any results because there are no tables. We already verified that there is nothing there, right? Test the connection. It will succeed because we have already connected successfully. Now everything is perfect. Now we will publish and then try to debug it. Debugging and see that it failed because there is no such table. I made a small change on the sync side and used the existing one. Instead, I will use the auto create table option, then publish and debug again. This time it will definitely succeed. Now we'll prepare a query to verify whether it was really created and check how many records have been written to the table. So this is the query select from external.dataset. Now I will go back to the pipeline and check whether it succeeded or not. It has succeeded. Perfect. Just refresh the tables. Is there any table created under this database or not? Let's check. Okay, perfect. There is a table named external.dataset. It is created. Now, I will query this table to identify if there are any records under it. We can see that the table exists, but querying it throws an error. The reason for this is important. External is a reserved keyword in SQL. It won't work directly if you use external. Instead, you can use brackets around the reserved keyword, like this, external. This will make it work. This is one of the best practices when querying in SQL. Always maintain such names within brackets. This is very useful if we are working on a small-scale project, a single database, or for practice. This is not the recommended approach for real-time. They won't allow you to manually pass the external dataset in a real-time environment. Right now, you need to create parameterization. Parameterization is very important when working on real-time projects. This is how I'm preparing parameters for the schema and table, so you can pass them at runtime. Okay, you can pass anything here. Default values are not mandatory. That's up to you. Instead of passing them manually, I'm doing the following. I'm dynamically passing all these values here. Okay, then click on dynamic. Okay, we don't have any parameters in the dataset. Let me create dataset parameters as well. Okay, these are the two dataset parameters I'm creating here. Now, I will use these parameters for dynamic configuration. Now, I will use these parameters to enable dynamic configuration. Now, I'm using the pipeline parameters to supply values to the dataset parameters. Right now, I'll click on the schema, select dynamic, and use the schema pipeline parameter. Use the table pipeline parameter. Perfect. There's just one more statement, the pre-copy script, which is the drop table command, right? Purpose is to drop the table if it exists and recreate it each time. That's our scenario as well. Now I will prepare it dynamically here. Okay, click OK, everything is perfect. Now click on publish and remember that external is a keyword. I will put external into brackets, especially because it is a reserved keyword. Okay, now publish. Now I have published it. Now the schema will go inside the brackets. See, external dataset represents the table name. Now it has failed again. Everything was supplied perfectly, but it still failed. The reason is that you cannot use pipeline parameters directly in SQL queries. Instead, you can dynamically supply the values to the pipeline parameters. This is how you should construct the query. Publish one more time, then go back to debug, pass the same values here. I hope this will pass. Yes, it succeeded. We'll check how many records have been written. 1133 records have been written. Go back to SQL and try to query. As you can see, it succeeded. You query here, it will show the results. There are no records under this table. What is the reason behind this? Refresh the tables and check if any tables have been created under this database. We already used the drop function, right? Table has been created, but the schema is different here, as you can see. This is not as expected in real time. The schema and table name are created within brackets. There is no table named external.dataset. We clearly passed both the schema name and table name in the drop statement as expected. Why was it created as external dataset? The reason is that when you pass the parameter directly, it formats this way. It is copying the parameters schema and table and trying to create the schema and table with the same names, isn't it? This is the problem. Here's how to handle this. See, this is the way you need to query the table. It seems complicated and not acceptable. No one will accept this kind of table structure in real time. Now I will check if the table exists in the expected format and drop it if it does not. If not, don't drop anything. I will simply check the table based on the values passed from the parameters. That's what I'm going to do with this query. I'm preparing a procedure here. Small procedure and a prescript. We'll see how this works now. So this is the query. What it does is first check for the table and then drop if it exists. Click OK. Everything is set. Now I am keeping external the same, no changes. I have passed the same parameters as before. Now if you look here and query it, take a look again. It is appending the values to the existing table, right? What will happen since we are not changing anything on the parameter side? Isn't it? Okay, let me do one thing. We'll go back. Just query again so nothing is changed. We'll go back to our parameters and change the parameter so that instead of passing it within brackets, we will modify it. I want it this way, right? External.dataset, right? Not within brackets as schema dataset, right? This is what I'm expecting now. We'll see what happens now. I'll refresh one more time, okay? I expected it to fail, and yes, it did. Understand the reason why it failed? Reason is that once you review everything, it seems perfect. The query is okay. It failed because, as usual. What's happening is that it's trying to verify the object to check whether it exists or not. Here, it's trying to query without brackets, right? It won't work. It shouldn't pass like this if you're executing a query. It should be within the brackets, isn't it? Now, how to deal this one? You can use the concatenation operator to append brackets. There's no problem to create schema and table. It will pass as external scheme when you try to verify by querying your database. It should be in brackets and .table, right? To include those brackets, what you can do is simply concatenate. If not, you can proceed without concatenation. You can also directly include the brackets like this. You can directly include the brackets for both the table name and the schema. It won't create any problems, right? it will work directly at runtime. It will check, and if the table exists, it will drop it. If it does not exist, it won't perform any action. As usual, it will create a new table, whatever parameters you pass here. See here, not passing parameter within the brackets, passing the external table. That's all, guys. So nothing C. Understood. Go back and debug one more time. Click OK. Then refresh. It looks like it should succeed this time. Perfect, it worked and wrote 1133 records. We'll check whether it has been appended to the previous table or not. It's created a new table, right? Let me check this. Now check if a new table has been created with 1133 records. Refresh it and verify if there are any tables under this database. The table has been created successfully. This is how you should handle external schemas in your work. If you're not processing it properly, you will face some problems. Okay, so that's all, guys. If you rerun, you'll see the same process here. We'll see if there's anything else to address. It happens every time. The table has to be dropped and recreated with the new one. That's the scenario now. It's supposed to be 1133. There's nothing in the previous table, and the new table also has the same count of records. It's working perfectly, right? Our use case is fulfilled. It is fully completed. This is how you should handle external schemas, right? Absolutely. Would you like to test your understanding? What is the purpose of creating an external schema in Azure SQL Server when loading data with Azure Data Factory? Check all these options, answer the question. The answer is B. I hope you gained some insights from this episode. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and share your comments and feedback. Each one is very important to me. It means a lot to me, so please spread the word and share this channel with your friends and family. You will definitely learn more and new challenges and real-time industry scenarios from our channel. Please stay tuned and subscribe for more updates. Okay, signing off. Bye. See you in the next episode.